threatened me and my other kids, and we had nothing to do with none of this. Roger's a everything, so that I'm over this shit.
And so Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long.
How would you feel if that happened to your brother, or if someone did that to Brian or one of your kids when they're older? Would you be as, and I'm not giving much compassion. You know, he made his bed, he has to lay in it.
Oh yeah. I think you're kind of doomed when you do something. When you're that kind of guy and you're that stupid about something, that you're 25 years old, dude. Your prefrontal cortex is fully developed.
Raja's career's over.
Yeah,
he's never going to be welcome back.
You don't get,
because here's the other thing.
You don't walk away
like
from this.
He didn't do that to
damage. You don't walk away.
No, there's no going back, because it's not like he did it to a guy who's this dick and he was egging him on. Do you know that Psycho Stu story? Former, I think, Marine or something like that, had severe PTSD, started wrestling to find an escape from all the madness and PTSD.
Rampage Jackson spoke out about the backlash from the Raja Jackson incident, asking people to leave his other children out of it. He admitted Raja had messed everything up, but stressed that the rest of his family had nothing to do with the situation. Rampage said he was done with the drama and wanted to focus on bettering himself, streaming, and spreading positivity. He explained that he preferred making people laugh rather than letting negativity drag him down, adding he'd rather go to prison than see something worse happen to his loved ones.
Don't threaten me and my other kids, and we had nothing to do with none of this. Roger's a everything, so I'm over this. You know what I'm focused on? I'm focusing on bettering myself and streaming for you guys and being a more positive person, more positive energy, because I like laughing when people laugh. So I'm not gonna let this stuff bother me, but I'd rather go to prison than go to the morgue or bury my kids.
Rampage Jackson clarified the situation with his son Raja, saying the incident had been scripted but spiraled out of control and didn't end as planned. He admitted Raja messed up, but felt frustrated that people kept twisting his words. Rampage emphasized that what bothered him most was how many believed Raja had snuck into the ring when in reality he was part of the show.
Like, yeah, my kid messed up and stuff like that, and people keep twisting my words. But my main thing is I couldn't understand why people actually think that my son snuck into the ring that wasn't part of the show.
Rampage Jackson also defended himself on X, saying people could twist his words, but he would always stand by his kids. He wrote that when justice takes its course, he would remain a loving parent no matter what happened. Rampage also pushed back against criticism of his parenting, pointed out that racism was part of the conversation, and reminded fans that 2 people were involved in the incident, not just one. Rampage Jackson said, "Say what you want about me, twist my words all you want, hopefully none of your kids bad enough to have people judge your parenting. When all is said and done, when justice takes place, no matter what happens, I'll still be a parent who loves all his kids. I'm allowed to complain about the racism. 2 human beings were involved in this incident. But hey, it's the internet. Be yourself." Meanwhile, famous journalist Ariel Helwani blasted Raja Jackson, calling the incident a storm of stupidity. He said Raja's actions were insane and that he deserves whatever consequences come his way. Helwani pointed out that Raja hasn't been charged or arrested yet, but stressed that what he did was absolutely stupid.
An absolute storm of stupidity. I mean, just even calling it a storm of stupidity is being kind. And it starts with Raja himself. What he did and the way he acted was absolutely insane. He deserves anything that is going to come his way, and as of now, it's nothing. As of now, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't been anything. And I don't know if he's going to be, and far be it for me to sit here and be like, that was first degree this, and I've seen people weigh in on like what it is. I'm no lawyer, I'm no officer. What I know is that it was absolutely stupid what he did.
Ariel Helwani criticized the promotion for failing to explain to Raja Jackson that the match was scripted. He said instead, Raja spent hours reading comments from kids online, daring him to go through with it, which fueled his reckless mindset. Helwani repeated that the whole thing was dumb.
What they failed to do was explain to the guy who was going into the ring that, hey, this is a work. This is scripted. You're not actually supposed to try to kill the guy. They failed to do that. What they did was they let him sit there for 2 hours or an hour and read comments from God knows who, 12-year-olds saying, are you really gonna do it? You don't have the to do it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. Watch me do it. Oh, I'm going to do it until they pull me off of him. I'm going to kill this guy. Dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb.
Ariel Helwani said Raja Jackson will have to face repercussions, whether from the law, the police, or elsewhere. He called it absolute lunacy that Raja incriminated himself by filming the attack, admitting he was going to do it, and then justifying it afterward.
I don't know what repercussions Raja is going to face, but he is going to have to face repercussions. Whether it's, you know, via the court of law, whether it's via the police, whether it's via the streets, I don't know. But that was crazy, man. You incriminated yourself. You filmed yourself beating the living daylights out of another man. And then you filmed yourself telling the world that you were going to do it. And then you filmed the aftermath of you justifying it. What? Absolute lunacy.
Meanwhile, Brian Callen said Raja Jackson will likely end up in jail, stressing that what happened was more than just a fight. He explained that prosecutors could charge him with attempted murder, aggravated assault with intent to cause serious harm, or even assault with a deadly weapon.
I think he's going to go to jail. You can't do that.
And how?
I'm sorry, but there's something very wrong.
What would
with
the
this kid.
charges be against him? Aggravated assault,
attempted murder.
Yeah.
attempted murder.
Aggravated assault.
Bring that up, Chin. What's he looking at?
With intent to cause egregious bodily harm. You can, but
You could say what charges.
A prosecutor.
What
can,
charge? Yeah, there you go.
A prosecutor can literally charge you with attempted murder here, assault with a deadly, all kinds of stuff.
However, Brendan Schaub wondered if Rampage could offer $300,000 to drop the charges, noting it's a huge amount, but that Rampage could afford it. Brian Callen questioned whether paying bail would actually teach Raja a lesson, but admitted that if it were his own son, he'd end up paying the money without hesitation.
Is there a world where, you know, it's Rampage's son? Can Rampage go, listen, drop the charges and I'll give you $300,000? Because the guy's not, you know, $300,000 is a lot of money.
Does Rampage have $300,000?
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
He's good.
Yeah, Rampage is good. Yeah, he's good.
Well, I think.
Is there something in that world?
I think there is. I think Rampage. Obviously, look, the tragedy is Rampage loves his son.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Let's say your son did that, and you have the means to pay $300,000. What's your son learn if you bail him out? Does it teach your son a better lesson if he goes into the system? What do you do as a father?
The answer, I guess the answer is I don't know, right? But I will say this, since you're pressing me, I would have to really.
I know what you would do.
Yeah.
You would pay the $300,000, Brian.
100%.
Brendan Schaub also admitted he couldn't defend Raja Jackson's actions despite wanting to. He said he respects both Raja and Rampage and even spoke with Rampage about it, but after watching the full live stream and footage, he was left speechless. Schaub called the situation sad, noting that Raja was only just beginning and now everything is gone.
And I'll be transparent. I like Raja, and obviously I adore Rampage. Me and Rampage have a great relationship. I love Rampage. And it's just by nature, my initial thought was when I heard about this, and I spoke with Rampage, when I heard about this, I went, all right, how can I defend Raja? I look at all the videos, I watched the full live stream and all that. I got nothing.
Oh,
I can't, you can't defend this. I see this, it's so sad. Because he was just getting started, and that all goes away.
On the other hand, Greg Doucette commented on this situation and believes Raja Jackson has most likely ended his career and could face prison for an unknown amount of time. He explains that this is what happens when people lash out after being pushed too far. Doucette stresses that constant teasing, belittling, and being made to feel lesser builds pressure until a breaking point is reached. In his view, Raja grows up under Rampage's shadow, where even his own father mocks and puts him down, making the outburst feel like a ticking time bomb waiting for the wrong push.
And so Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long. And so, in my opinion, this is an example of exactly what happens when kids, they lash out. And by kids, I mean adults who are only 25 years of age. Perhaps he's 26. I forget. When you keep on poking the bear, you keep on teasing someone, you keep on belittling them, putting them down, making them feel less than other people. Eventually, you can't handle it and you don't give two Turks about anything. And so, in my opinion, this was a ticking time bomb. Imagine, you're this kid. You have to live up to your dad's reputation. And all he does is make fun of you, puts you down, calls you a bitch, Eventually, what do you think you're going to do when the wrong person pushes you the wrong way?
Greg Doucette reacted to Raja Jackson's backstage stream, where the first altercation with Psycho Stu took place. He described how a man walked up to Raja, confronted him, and then smashed a beer can over his head. Doucette said that in that moment, if Raja had punched him back, it would have been self-defense. Since the wrestler struck first, Doucette argued Raja would have had every right to defend himself.
They're walking around and a man walks up to him. He takes a beer can, he's looking at him. He looks at him, says, "You don't know who I am?" "No, I don't know who you are." Like, why would I care? And so the man, the wrestler who's being disrespected, grabs a beer can and smashes it on his head. And so in that moment, if Raja punches him in the face, I don't care. He goes at it. To me, that is self-defense. He got in his face and hit him first, and so he would have every right to defend himself.
Greg Doucette explained that Psycho Stu didn't realize Raja Jackson wasn't actually a performer, but just there as a fan. After the beer can incident, the wrestler apologized to Raja, admitting it was a mistake and asking for forgiveness. According to Doucette, the wrestling crew then decided to spin the moment into part of the show. Since Raja was a streamer with a big following, they thought involving him in the act could make things more entertaining.
But little did that wrestler know that Raja wasn't a performer, he was there as a fan. And so after that scene, he goes up to him and he apologized. "Sorry, I didn't know. I thought you were part of the wrestling crew. I would have never have done that," and shook his hand. Basically, he admits that it was a mistake. He takes ownership of his action and he asks for forgiveness. And so being a wrestling community where basically everything is staged, they thought, oh, do you know what would be cool? We could show this clip and then we'll get him in the ring. We'll make him part of the act. He's a streamer, has a lot of followers, and it'll make wrestling that much more popular. We'll show him, he'll get his revenge.
Greg Doucette said that this time, things went completely wrong. Before stepping into the ring, Raja was even streaming and saying that he will not listen to them and hit Psycho Stu more than once until everyone pulls him off. When the moment came, Psycho Stu clearly let Raja pick him up, the way performers do in wrestling, but Raja slammed him hard to the ground. On the drop, the back of Psycho Stu's head hit, and he was knocked unconscious instantly, something Greg noted was extremely dangerous.
Only this time it went wrong. And so prior to getting in the ring, Raja is streaming saying, "I'm going in there and they told me to hit him once, but I don't care. I'm gonna keep on hitting him until everyone pulls me off." And so he jumps in the ring, grabs the guy who's clearly letting him. I mean, we know that if he was actually to be grabbed, he would have done something. He's letting him pick up in the air, he's grabbing his thing, and then he slams him to the ground. Unfortunately, he bangs the back of his head on the drop, and you all know when you get hit in the back of the head, you can go unconscious, it's very dangerous. And so he literally gets knocked out upon landing. Now, in a real fight, if it was UFC, MMA, and so on, once you're unconscious, the fight is over.
Greg Doucette further goes off at Raja Jackson and said the script only called for Raja to throw one punch, but instead he kept going, landing over 20 shots on an already unconscious Psycho Stu. He stressed that once blood was pouring and no punches were coming back, it was clear the fight was over. Continuing past that point, Greg said, crossed into criminal behavior and is exactly how someone ends up in jail.
And so he gets up on top and he punches him. That was basically the script. And so at this point, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Hey, it was a script. I didn't notice he was unconscious, and so I hit him. Fine. What about the second punch? The third? The fourth? The 10th? The 20th? What about on number 27, when blood is pouring out of the person's head and he hasn't swung back a single time? Do you not think he would know if somebody is defenseless or not? And so I don't care if the guy deserved it or he didn't deserve it. I don't care about any of that stuff. When the person you're beating up is unconscious and can no longer defend themselves, the fight is over. And if you continue to beat that person up, that's when you're in the wrong and that's when you go to jail.
Referee Big John McCarthy also put the blame squarely on Raja Jackson. He said he sympathized with Quentin Rampage Jackson as a father, but stressed that no parent can control everything. McCarthy added that young men often make reckless choices that alter their lives, and Raja's mistake was one of those moments.
Look, at this all comes back to one person. let's put the blame where it belongs, and it belongs on Raja Jackson. And as much as I love Quentin and I hate for him to have to go through this as a father, you cannot be there at all times. And you know, your son is young. I have, you know, my sons are all grown up, but there's times when, you know, they're going to go do something. You're saying, hey, don't do something stupid that's going to alter your life. Okay? Be smart. And I used to say that line all the time because young men do stupid things. And those stupid things can alter your life forever. And unfortunately, Raja went and did a stupid thing.
John McCarthy said Raja Jackson's continuous punching attacks on an unconscious opponent went into attempted murder territory. He explained this was far beyond simple battery or assault, noting prosecutors could push for attempted murder, with only a plea deal bringing it down to aggravated assault. McCarthy stressed that while pro wrestling comes with some expected contact, no one signs up to be beaten while unconscious.
But when he jumped on an unconscious person and then started throwing punches, 22 unanswered blows, okay? You're talking about attempted murder. You're not talking about battery. You're not talking about assault. You're not talking about aggravated assault. He'll be lucky. They're going to put, trust me, they're going to put that thing up at attempted murder. And he'll be lucky if he pleads out that they'll bring it down to something like aggravated assault, because that's where it's headed. You know, and I hate to say that, but, you know, I've seen it in the past, and Raja stepped so far into it with what he did. And it was so, you know, this is one person attacking another person. Yeah, it was in a pro wrestling ring. And yeah, Psycho Stu knew that he was going to come in. And yeah, he knew he was going to get slammed. He didn't know someone was going to waylay him for 22 shots while he was unconscious.
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen explained that the legal case depends on whether Psycho Stu presents the incident as real or part of a performance. He said Stu looked genuinely unconscious, but the uncertainty lies in if he admits it was real or protects the storyline by calling it scripted. Sonnen added that this puts Stu in a tough position, since admitting it was staged could damage his credibility and possibly end his wrestling career.
To get into the eye or mind of the DA or a potential juror, you're going to have no ability to do that if you don't understand emotion versus action, right? The action is supposed to look like he's punching him. The action is supposed to look like he turns him in a 180 and slams him down on the back of his head. So then, where you cross that already blurred line, right, which professional wrestling is already the blurred line. Where you cross that is where Jackson actually gets angry. The rest of it, from a physicality and an appearance standpoint, is what you're supposed to do. And sometimes some shots get through. One of the most famous ones that you guys would have seen was Braun Strowman. Brock Lesnar trusted Braun. Braun did a move that was too hard.
Chael Sonnen surprised fans by suggesting Raja Jackson's attack was actually part of the show. He claimed Raja entered the ring as planned, hitting a double leg takedown that was set up in advance. Sonnen explained that Psycho Stu went along with the spot, but the execution went wrong when Stu landed hard on the back of his head and appeared briefly knocked out.
You saw Raja get in the ring as part of a wrestling angle that was scripted and planned. You see Raja come in with his wits about him, waits for the right moment, picks up a double leg, just as it was planned. And he's doing this with Psycho Stu, and Psycho Stu is letting it play perfectly. Raja then turns him around so that when he brings him down, it's right in the center of the ring, which appears to be very clearly what they agreed and had planned to do. Now, the landing is not great. When Raja brings Psycho Stu down, it's not great, and Stu lands in a way and he hits the back of his head, and he looks as though he perhaps lost a level of consciousness right then.
Dylan Dennis also reacted to the Raja Jackson incident by calling it hard to watch. He suggested Raja might have anger issues and questioned why he would behave that way. Dennis said anyone who trains understands the difference between controlled cooperation and outright taking advantage, comparing the attack to a reckless WWE move where someone gets slammed on their head, calling it ridiculous and unnecessary.
What's your take on this Raja Jackson video that came out? Because it seems like that's caught kind of not just in the wrestling world, but like everyone is caught.
To be honest, it's hard to watch, but in a way, it's like he might have something like wrong, like maybe like anger problems. Because like, why would he do that? You know. And anybody that has trained or anybody has a brain knows when someone's working or someone's like, and like that would be like me going with you right now and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick you up and we're working, we're doing a WWE match. Like you could slam me in my head, like I'm giving you my weight. You know what I mean? So like the guy obviously let him pick him up. And then slamming him like that is ridiculous, first off.
Dylan Dennis called Raja Jackson's attack reckless and unnecessary. He explained that pro wrestling relies on trust to keep participants safe, but Raja turned it into something dangerous. Dennis added that the follow-up punches looked meant to cause harm rather than entertain, calling the situation disappointing and damaging to wrestling's image.
Especially being a guy that's trained. I know he's only 0-1, but like slamming the guy like that, first off, is ridiculous. Like, any person in WWE can do that to each other. You know, it doesn't. That's not anything like people are adding like, oh, that's Rampage Jr. or something like that. Like the guy jumped up for you to carry his weight, and he's trusting you to take care of his body. You know what I mean? And then he's throwing those shots, and like, I get you can kind of lay one in, like, you know what I mean? I can hit you like that, but not even. But the first one was like haymaker. He's trying to like kill the guy, and like, it's just sad. Like I don't understand what happened. Like it's hard to explain what happened, and it looks bad for us too. You know what I mean? Like. And like anybody could do that. Like I can go in the ring in WWE and do that. To, like why I do that? No. Like you're supposed to have a trust. I mean, that's a different sport. It's a pro wrestling.
So that wraps up today's video, and hopefully you have enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about this whole bizarre incident in the comments section. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos.